Hey, I've been really chatty today. It's been feeling really good, and I keep saying that because it does, and I keep wanting to get on and mess around with my thoughts, with my words. It's been interesting to see what I can get done in short bits of time, and I've been just dedicating a few minutes every day to be reading and taking notes and seeking content that is intentional. So I finally got to sit down with my favorite seed catalog that it's unique because there's not vegetables. It's really their mission is restoration of prairie plants. So you'll have these really nice pictures of the different species that these plants support. So thanks to Prairie Moon Nursery for their really amazing work. I feel that my journey on my path has often been surrounded by plants giving me messages. And now that I'm tapping into that while I'm listening to conversations about, say, ritual magic, um, well, it's, uh, I was I was enlightened to a concept that I'd never really considered before because I don't practice ritual magic, as it were. But I've been interested in learning about what are these different studies about. So I have collected a lot of different books over the years, and none of it felt right for me. Um, I think the closest I got was this book because it's such a cultural history and really gives homage to the stories, the folklore. So thanks to Wolf Storrell for the herbal lore of wise women and work hunters, and then spiritual herbalism, the magic and medicine of the plants. I just got this book a few days ago, but both of them have really helped me to see what ritual can be about. It can be very simple. It can be going out in the garden every day, rain or shine or snow or smoke like last summer. And that was a really difficult part of last summer for me, was being busy, being away from the home, working more hours and driving more for a commute than I ever had before, being away from my family. And despite having, a pretty good paying gig, there were really good things about it. And losing that job really made me appreciate what I have in a new way and appreciate now having the time to spend on the things that really matter. And I didn't buy trees or books today, but I wanted to. I discovered a book they offer from Prairie Moon, and it's called The Nature of Oaks by Douglas Tallamy. I've never read anything by him before, but they do offer 4 bare root type oak trees. I think 2 of them would not be very suitable for me, but 2 of them I might be interested in ordering, although they are very large trees. So I'm not so sure about planting 70, 80-foot tall trees where I live, but I may buy that book. I do have an affinity for oak trees. And in my club called The Grove with Josh Williams, I've been working on a journey with juniper. And I love that tree, the spirit of that tree. It something I read recently about it was that it teaches you patience. And I think that's because it's a tree that it's evergreen, it grows in really rough conditions, survives in my compact clay with very little water, survives through these extremes. And yet last year or the year before, I drove some juniper trees up from California and they did not make it. I got them just from a box store and I filled my car up with plants from California, and a lot of them did make it. Many did not. But I was really anxious to bring something back from where my dad lives. And anyway, some of the junipers I planted died. Some of them are doing well. Our oldest one in the backyard has this big scar on it, and a few years ago I thought I might actually cut it down because I thought it might be dying, it might be dangerous if it falls, but I'm so glad I didn't cut her down. So I've just been thinking about that. Quite a nice comparison to one's life, when you feel like really broken, really messed up, really scarred, and you can still thrive. We have a park by our house. It's pretty cool because it's sort of wild. They do tend it and clean it up. So they recently cleared out they thinned a number of smaller trees and exposed a lot of the older trees so you can walk right up to them a lot easier. And there's these 40, 50, 60-foot felled trees that fell so long ago, they're growing new trees out of the branches. They've gone from doot and then shoots growing straight up. So it's pretty interesting to see how even something really large, like a giant tree, it grows like a clone. And you'll see that in really compact plants. You'll see the plants that shoot out their rhizomes underground and spread that way, grasses and succulents and things like that. And there's so many lessons to be learned from the resilience and how these plants can survive in these crazy conditions. And another tree really close to me these days is my next door neighbor's tree adjacent to my window is a beautiful dawn redwood. and it always sheds its pine cones and branches. It's not an evergreen. So this is the time of year when I get to see the silhouette at sunset, and it's really cool. I'm so lucky we have that tree next to us. Would be one reason I'd like to buy my neighbor's house next door, if that ever were possible, is to preserve that tree as long as possible. It's just beautiful. But it is a big one, and I'm going to avoid planting anything that's too giant. I'd rather have some more diversity of species, but I am considering this red oak tree and the bur oak. That would be pretty special to get those. The red oak, they're tolerant of different conditions. They endure air pollution and road salt, so that's good for where I live for sure. And they provide food and shelter for bats, woodpeckers, wood ducks, countless insects. Red oaks keep their leaves through the winter and blaze a rich Merlot red in the fall. So that just sounds awesome. And then the bur oak, it maintains a conical shape throughout its juvenile years and branches outward with domed foliage as it matures. The broad limbs provide nesting sites for scores of birds, including vieros and tanagers. Acorns are topped by a fringed cap whose spiny details give this tree its name. Bur oaks produce the largest acorns of any oak, drawing mallards, raccoons, and black bear. So I don't think we'd have to worry too much about black bear in our neighborhood, but we have had some mountain lion sightings recently. But definitely bur oaks are cool. And they can, I suppose I could plant it sort of by the street. I want to have some street canopy trees. Some of the neighbors have street canopy trees, but not too many in our little old neighborhood. So I'm definitely pondering the coming of spring, although it was nice to have some snow the last few days because we do need the water. Desperately need to store as much water as we can in our mountains. That's how we survive. And we've had so many extreme wildfires, even really early this year. We've had just, we had a really dry January. So we will take whatever precipitation we can get for sure. I'm just feeling so fortunate, so grateful that I have a space, that I have any kind of dirt to go and connect with. And I swear I've been on my hands and knees on every inch of my property over the last few years. And I've gotten to know her well. And this year, because of our dry, somewhat warm January, I spent so many days out in the backyard, which I had neglected. Last year was so busy and smoky from wildfires, and I'd been focusing primarily on the front yard to improve that space, and so I'm finally giving more equal attention to the various spaces. Our yard's definitely been in transition, as is our house, but I feel in this wonderful kind of nesting space. I want some aesthetic in my life. It doesn't need to be perfect, but going through a slow daily ritual considering one plant for an entire moon cycle, and we're just 6 days into it now, and I'm definitely feeling the reward of the patience, um, because it seems somehow that's one part of magic I've been able to tap into, is the ability to get more done when I slow down, when I don't feel rushed, and I think that's how it is for my daughter in particular, her learning journey right now. She's wanted to get herself out of the public school she was begging to go to this year. She quickly realized it wasn't what she wanted, and so we've been taking her to a tutor so that we can make sure, at least on paper, she's keeping on track with, like, her grade level stuff. And so we got her tested for reading, and she had struggled with reading in early elementary. Um, she's a really smart kid, but reading was tough until the middle of 2nd grade. Well, now at the end of 3rd grade, she's reading at 6th, 7th grade level. So, uh, she'd been really stressed out this year, and I know she was feeling the stress from us, from me and her dad. Um, we've been trying our best to keep it positive, but sometimes the world is garbage and it's a little bit of both. So, um, the good and the bad, you can't just pretend to be happy all the time, but can't wallow either. And I've just been thinking about how much of a drug that is to feel bad for yourself or to blame something else for all of your problems. Um, it does seem to give away your power. And this journey of exploring my words and my thought processes and looking at myself, how do I want to present myself? Well, I want to present myself authentically. That's all I've ever hoped to do. And even though often I was bullshitting myself, um, I, I'm really proud of, you know, getting myself out of that bad spiritual place and connecting with myself. It's it's not scary to listen to myself or look at myself on camera, although there are certain critiques I can make, um, to be more of what I hope to be, So, uh, I'll just say, yeah, I'm so proud of myself for being my authentic self. I know that this will go somewhere because I have been blessed with making really wonderful connections throughout my life, and I think I um, chose to exclude people from my space and to step away from the things I knew didn't serve me well. And I appreciate the lessons I learned from all of those experiences. And now it just feels so good to not need all of that and to not be buying into all that. And, that's when, like, you don't have to worry about a diet if you can avoid eating the cookies on the table. The cookies are there, but you don't have to beat yourself up about it. It's like, oh, no, I just don't want the cookie. That's what it feels like. Whereas maybe I used to eat all the cookies at after midnight when everybody went to sleep. I would have no self-control, no willpower for anything. And it's a really good place to be right now. So once again, I never know where we're going. But I do imagine myself having that I already have it all. I already have all the books that I might need, or all the friends, or all the resources that I might need. I don't have to worry about not having. But when you're raising kids and you have to feed them every day, and you have to take care of their basic needs, and you have to take care of your own basic needs so that you're available to sacrifice yourself for others. That's what I hope to have strength for, and to continue to be able to shovel my driveway and the old ladies in the neighborhood, help them out, and whomever I might serve. I hope to do that with joy and without the expectation of something coming back. But that's the true joy of business exchange, is that they exchange for exchange sake, that it feels so good to have something to offer someone else that they want. And I had a good experience with that a few weeks ago. We really needed some money. We really needed to pay some bills. And I had this huge art piece that I didn't need anymore. I had no attachment to it anymore, and I had been attached to it. So it was really nice to put it out there. I reached out to the artist herself. I said, "Hey, I want to sell this piece. I just have to." And she shared it with her friends, her followers. So I found someone to purchase it at the price I paid for it, and it felt so good. And we'd been so nervous about paying all the bills. And so you go through that ebb and flow of the scarcity and then the abundance. It feels so amazing. And I think it's just good having those times of challenge. And we lost our dog recently, and it's just been harder than I ever imagined. Just strange how it hits. Yeah, I really had an emotional moment today, and I was thinking about frankly, I was thinking about this pop star young woman who she just died. She just passed from cancer, and she only came on my radar because someone at work last year showed me a video of hers. And I really liked her message. And she was sick with cancer, buying a couple t-shirts of hers, Nightbird. This young woman named Jane, and she was on America's Got Talent. And the song she sang on that performance is called It's Okay. And man, it's really powerful. Really powerful. And then I saw this video of her just before she passed away. and it wrecked me to watch it. And I was crying, and my daughter's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I want you to watch this." And she wanted to console me. She didn't know why I was crying. And I think it was the dog. I think it was the dog. And I think also it's just so terrible to see someone so beautiful and talented go at what we feel is a young age. But I do worry about this idea that we don't ever want to die, that we want to have life extension to the point where what is our quality of life? What are we extending if we're stuck in a nursing home on lockdown and our families can't visit us and we die alone? Or, our families get bankrupted because of the cost of the retirement home. Talk about affordable housing. It's definitely not affordable to house your loved one in any kind of long-term care. And it's only getting more expensive because they have no limits. They really can just jack up the price in maybe 30 days notice, 60 days notice, some of these places. I can't even imagine the number of stories revolving around that issue alone. But you think about the transhumanist movement, this whole philosophy, and say whatever you want. These are just things I want to consider because they have big implications. And I listened to a talk earlier today with a woman named Tina in Italy, and she explained that they're still on lockdown, they still have mandates for work, um, mandates to go anywhere except the grocery store. And the Italian people, for the most part, they don't speak other languages. They're not watching other media outlets from around the world. They're not listening to the release of the Pfizer, um, 10 pages of side effects. They listen to their state-run media, and they get what they're given. There's no alternative media sources for them there. And it just made me think again of my fortune, because I've always had a sense of things being weird, things not quite adding up. And bless my mom's heart, she has always done her best. And I'm so grateful I've been able to grow up alongside my mother too. That's what I'm appreciative of now. I get to go ski with her, ski with my sister, ski with our kids. That's amazing. Ski in the mountains she played on with her cousins and her uncles and her dad and her nephews, where she taught my siblings to ski as well. So it's been magical to get to go up into the mountains. I've been in the wrong space, wrong headspace for too long, not appreciating that opportunity that's right in my backyard. Not enough, anyway. I'll walk around my neighborhood, I'll walk around my own gardens, I'll seek the plants close to me. But in terms of getting myself out into the wilderness, I haven't been doing that as much as I really should have. But the last 2 weeks we've been going skiing, and we're going to go again in a few more days. So thanks for listening to these reflections. it's been incredibly positive for me, and I wish you all the best. Um, just with the thing about Nightbird, Jane passing away, and her message about really feeling things, feeling them authentically, so you can let go, not being afraid of dying, as it were, because it is a cycle. And I was thinking about how my grandfather passed away at a ski resort, not the one we ski at, but not too close, in terms of just a few miles. Um, and he died having a heart attack on the mountain. And this is almost was 13 years ago. Um, and you think about your family as relatives, and then once they pass, then they're your ancestors. And with all this Ukraine stuff, I was looking up color meaning, and I didn't do a very deep dive. I just wanted to see what would pop out, and I found someone in Africa doing candle work with a yellow and blue candle. And when you use those candles together, um, you're not just working with spirits around you, you're specifically working with your ancestors that are on your side. And that was very powerful for me. Um, to be in the mountains with my kids, and it's so tough because it's cold. You got a bunch of gear. It's really stressful to get everybody up and make sure you have everything you need and load up the car and walk the long walk from the car to yada yada yada. And it's tough for the little kids. So getting through the day, or by the end of the day, they're still smiling, laughing, and they're willing to go again next week. That takes some real patience. And we were all laughing with my mom about how when her dad took her skiing, he just said, "Okay, good luck." He went off to play on the mountain. And we're much more involved with the kids. We're not just leaving them to figure it out on their own. Um, so there's times when you do that, when you let go and you let them fall, but you're there with them. You help them pull them back up. It was a lot rougher for my mom, just having to figure it out on her own. And so I've always felt fortunate that she took more time with me, and she really makes the effort to give us this gift of getting to go skiing because it's so expensive. We'd never be able to do it on our own, and I'd never have had the desire to do it if she didn't want to. So I really do the skiing for her, but I'm finding the joy in it again, the joy that I'd lost, uh, because, when you don't do something for a long time, it's scary. It's scary having to relearn and to feel all these muscles in your body you haven't felt, and thinking in the back of your head, "I can't afford to get hurt." And those are thoughts you don't have as a kid. It's a different kind of fear when you're a kid, but you're not worried about paying the bills at the hospital. So, just so much to reflect upon, but I don't want to fear, death, as it were. I want to look forward to becoming an ancestor to my children, to their children, to support them in their journey no matter where I am. And I think that's what has these futurists so terrified is the idea that, um, they're going to die, that they're not gonna be, beautiful anymore. They're not gonna feel their best anymore. And, I thought it was weird. I saw this post from George Takei talking about, um, how straight people, whatever, we've always, been able to gender affirm ourselves through plastic surgery or taking hormones or whatever. But for me, yeah, I just don't wanna, like, castrate our kids before they understand what they're doing. That's all I'm saying. Um, I don't wanna have kids defining gender when they're, 10, so yeah, babe, you're good. Um, so, it's delicate because I want my kids to know I love them no matter what. No matter what they wanna wear or what they wanna do. I just don't wanna sexualize it for them yet. I just think that's that's the part about it that has me concerned. And so, all love because, I don't know what I'm talking about, just practicing, just trying it out, trying to think. But yeah, I think that we shouldn't just define ourselves by what we, look like. Like, I'm still a woman even if I wear, um, my husband's clothes, when I steal his clothes because they're big and loose and comfortable. Uh, I'm still a woman when I get all dirty and do all the yard work. That doesn't emasculate my husband. Um, so anyway, we'll continue some more book talks, and I just wanted to get a lot more of this out there because I've been feeling a really good flow and, maybe not organizing my thoughts well, but I've just been having a lot of ideas pop up, and I feel that if I don't get them out, then it might lose the momentum. And I really appreciate the momentum I've been gaining here. It's been productive in the rest of my life. So, like I'm not getting views here. These are bad videos, right? But they're serving a purpose. And yeah, so that magic is there because it's making me look at myself literally in a mirror, because I'm on my webcam on a Chromebook and I can't do I can't do mobile streaming on my phone without 1,000 subscribers. But because my Chromebook is on Wi-Fi, I can do this and it's essentially mobile. So I think I'll start when it gets warm, start taking the Chromebook outside and working on a cool little outdoor set and have some background noise. Uh, start dialing in the audio. Start dialing in uh, how we're going to structure this because I think it will be really interesting to talk books and how these different authors connect. Like, I had no idea that Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, they were part of a group, they called themselves the Inklings. Um, and I've always thought it was interesting from a young age. I realized, like, there were all these celebrities that grew up together that knew each other. Those connections are really, you can dig in and discover them. They're very apparent. And I don't think there's any coincidences. I really don't. I think you're just either able to see things or you're not. And if you're able to see things, you can misunderstand them. But many of us just choose not to see, or we second guess ourselves. So I'm coming much closer to my intuition and not letting other things affect me. It's a very powerful place. It's like I like the only other time I felt this sense so strongly was when I was pregnant. I know I'm not pregnant now, so for sure. And I thought I was. I thought I was because I felt so much like that sense of no, I'm busy. I'm busy with myself. And I've been projecting that with my family because they used to be like always asking me for everything all the time. It was like, can you guys not open your eyes and look for whatever you need? You're on your own. Like, what happens when I'm at work? It's like if I'm around, it was like their brains were turned off sometimes. But I started to do these streams and I told my family like, "Hey, I'm doing these." And so they'll interrupt me occasionally. They'll knock on the door, but they know I'm doing something. So I think it's nice that as a family we are supportive of each other and we do need each other. There's a codependence in that sense, but we are learning our independence. And I keep thinking about this idea of growing up with our parents, growing up with our children. And it takes it away from the straight up like hierarchy of, you know, like what's disconnected us from spirit is religion attempting to get in between myself and God and the feeling of spirit. And it used to be, God talks to the king, talks to the husband, and that's still how like the Mormon church priesthood hierarchy is. It's very patriarchal. And that's literally what they call it, is their patriarchal blessing. Although I don't know much about their doctrines in particular, but you want to you want to learn about the reason why people become passive aggressive fucks and these golems. It's because they are so severely abused. And then the abuse becomes it's all they know. It's the only attention they know. So it's like, it reminds me of that rat experiment when the rats only go for the cocaine when they're in solitary confinement. They only get addicted to it when they're excluded from their community, as it should be, which is the commingling of various roles. It's not that the women did one thing and the men did the other. It was different ages of people, different connections. Because, you might have granddad teach the kids one skill, and then grandmother teach the kids another skill, or those other skills everybody came together to do. And so with my feeling now is just in terms of the lack of values, is it's so hard to have values for yourself when you're just told there's one way. And so, it's not like let's literally kill the men, but let's destroy the idea of, okay, this is what a perfect man is. And if you don't live up to that, then you're not a man. Like, that's why everybody's so fucked up right now. Everybody thinks, oh, but this is how it's supposed to be. So if it's not that way, God, I'm supposed to be able to pray to God and he would save me, he would save whatever, save my mom, heal my child. Well, no, you cannot live that way and not be disappointed. So trusting spirit, I believe, is about not just accepting death, but it's like integrating it. It's like if I were to deny that we need to have winter, well, we just dry out in the Dust Bowl up here. We don't want it perpetually 70 degrees up here. We don't. So we need the cycle. And sometimes it goes out of balance and, things change. And where I live, historically, volatile. Lots of crazy energies here. Glaciers, floods, earthquakes. But there'll be a lot more to discuss. I think I got through a lot of the main points that have been in my brain today. It was a really, really, really good day though. So I'll wrap this up before we hit an hour. Your encouragement. Have a great night.